This was my boy, Emmett Till.
The body of Emmett Lewis Till has been found dead.
Can I at least just fix him up a bit?
No, they have to see it for themselves.
The lynching of my son has shown me that what happens to any of us, anywhere in the world, had better be the business of us all.
Hi, Danielle.
How you doing, Kurt?
I'm doing really good. It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
So we met pre-pandemic.
Kinda.
Well, yeah, it was right before. I remember when I went to Chicago because I was
right in the crux of the beginning.
in the
So
very.
it's not pre-pandemic. It's I bet it was here in December.
It was probably already here, and nobody was talking about it.
Exactly.
But yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate you taking the time. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm in the whirlwind of sharing the work, right?
Yeah. Are you in Los Angeles or?
I'm in LA for now. Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, I do want to talk to you a little bit about Station 11, but let's start out with Till. First of all, congratulations on the release of it. I just went to see it a couple of days ago. Very, very powerful movie and incredible performance by you. I can imagine with a role like that's deeply meaningful and emotional. And I saw in a previous interview of yours that you said that it was a hard decision to take the role. So can you talk a little bit about that on what went into that decision?
Yeah. I was starting from scratch at the time. I had just gotten to LA and was getting settled, and they sent the script, and I said, I can't think about this quite yet as I begin this new thing. And so I took it over the course of a week. I read it in thirds and finally finished at the end of the week. And over that weekend, my reps were like, you can still submit if you'd like. And I said, okay, I will. And it's not about, you just know the weight of it. I come from Atlanta. I know the history. I know the weight of Black women's labor as my own, personal artistic pursuits outside of, commercial film and TV.
Yeah.
It's a part of my performance art practice. It's a part of the things that are valuable and significant to the way I understand the world and who I'm trying to center in the works that I do in any regard. And so I just wanted to be intentional in coming to this understanding of the kind of impact that it would have on me and the responsibility of carrying it. So I submitted, traditionally a self-tape, did a director session that was centered on the funeral home scene where she witnesses Emmett's body for the first time. Then, you have another meeting and then you get an offer. And that was the gist of it. And so then you're joyful, and then you've got a load to carry,
Yeah, well, it was we're as audience members, we're thankful that you took on the role because you really did an incredible job with it. What was this your? I know you have a lengthy theater background as well. So was this your first time playing an actual historical figure, or have you done that in the past?
Not at all. I would, as a kid, like I started in dance, and dance and theater were always, mediums that were riding together for me. But I remember doing a role as a kid in a performance with Total Dance Theater. It was called Women Hold Up Half the Sky. And I played one of the 4 little girls in the church bombing in Birmingham. And it's so that kind of historical impact has always been within and on my, artistic pursuits. It's just been there,
Yeah.
Cathay Williams, Cuffy's a historical figure.
Right. Yeah.
well, Cathay Williams
Right,
is.
right, right. Cuffy was based off of her.
Covey was based off of Cathay Williams. Jane and Emma, that film was based on Jane Manning, who was, one of the first Black Mormons to travel across the country to be a part of the Mormon community, and myriad other things in theater or other mediums of art, like exploring the historical and having a conversation of how that impacts the present and the potential in the future has always been a part of my work.
Great. And I'm glad you bring up Atlanta, because I know you were born and raised in Atlanta, right? And I wasn't, but I've lived in Atlanta for about 6 years now, so I feel like I can call Atlanta.
6 years ain't enough to really make you a straight up. No, don't do that.
But I call Atlanta home now because I don't know where else to call home. The funny thing is,
Well, it's home then. Okay. Atlanta's different every time I come back. And I still feel connected and disconnected at the same time. Every 2-3 months, some corner is shifted. Every 2-3 months, something I loved or remember is gone. And I go, well, damn, Atlanta. But the people are still there. They may have been pushed around or intentionally moved around on their own, but that doesn't change the home nature of it for me.
Yeah. I feel like while the film industry here in Atlanta has really boomed in the past decade or so, and rivaling the other big markets, it still feels like a small community of film, and the film and acting community here still feels really small and tight knit and very supportive of one another in that respect.
I think that's cool. That intimacy is imperative to making challenging experimental work. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you what it was like for you. When did you said you acted in shows as a kid, both in dance and plays and things like that. So when did you get started in the performing arts?
Well, my mother checked me the other day because she said, these people are wrong. You weren't dancing in front of the TV watching Soul Train when you were 3 or 4. You were 2. And I said, okay, my apologies. I've been lying.
Not like you would remember when you were 2.
I made the error. Forgive me. Let me revise right now.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think
your whole life.
That whole time. It's been my whole life.
Wow.
It's always been a part of me. I did pivot and think. That's why I never really thought about it as like, oh, this work effort. I thought, oh, well, I'll go into academia. I taught, elementary school for 2 years. My collegiate and graduate pursuits were in an effort to be a professional in that regard. It wasn't to be an artist. But then when I worked and I realized, oh, these things combine to make you a specific kind of artist. It just takes time to come to that information. I also felt crazy because I too at one time wanted to go to New York to do the work, right? I studied, graduate school in New York, but my efforts were not focused on art in any way. And I thought about going to LA. I was like, this is what you have to do. You have to go to move the career faster. But boy, oh boy, patience is the greatest teacher, and it kind of came to Atlanta. And then it allowed me to go out, so.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing to hear. I mean, so what was your experience like coming up in the theater scene in Atlanta? Because I know you worked in a lot of theater here.
Yeah, I worked for everybody. Synchronicity Theater, True Colors, Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater, the Alliance Theater, the Horizon Theater, Aurora. I've worked at in Little 5 Points for small joints. Like I've worked for everybody and indie joints as well, like stuff on the street. I perform my own experimental performance art stuff. I worked with Elevate and Atlanta Streets Alive. Like all kinds of things have enabled me to be the kind of thinker and artist that I am today. So, I mean, folks who are doing the same thing right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And since you got started at such a young age, what is your approach to like thinking about the craft? Because I imagine like as a kid, you're just like, I just want to do this. But at what point, how do you start approaching it at what point did you start like really thinking about it and approaching it as craft, or does it kind of gradually get there?
Yeah, no. I think Atlanta institutions, I mean, kids are artists.
Yeah.
So it's craft at that time, right? I was at Atlanta Street Theater. You're being taught, a variety of methodologies to understand humanity, to understand how to, train your body, your voice. That's been happening since then. I wasn't a part of what's the organization? Golly, I didn't go to Tri-Cities. I went to Grady. So I had a different kind of rigor to the things that were being taught to me. I wasn't a part of Freddie Hendrix, but I know a whole lot of people who did do Freddie Hendrix YEA. And I just think there's myriad ways to come to the education. And we were getting that. Atlanta kids get it in a certain way. Do you know how many Broadway folks were in YEA? It's insane. The power that they possess. That started when folks were little. That started before high school. Before middle school. Kids start in elementary right now. So craft has always been a part of the work. It's always been a part of the ethic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was a totally different kid growing up. I was the math and science kid growing up, and then I went to college for computer science, and I worked in software for many years. And I didn't take my first acting class till I was 26, and I was just doing it for fun, and then like kind of found my way into the industry.
I did a math and science program at Morehouse for like 4 years every summer. So I know about the heart atriums and the left and right ventricular, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Chemistry and all that stuff. So, but something just said, go this way, but all that stuff helps, Yeah.
All the life experience.
All that stuff helps.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to let you go until I want to ask you a little bit about Station 11, because that's where I met you. And that was my first time meeting you, but I heard of you before, having been in Atlanta for a bit. I had seen you already in Devil to Pay. And I'd actually seen you the first time in Atlanta. And when you worked on Atlanta, was that where you first met Hero? Is that how you got connected through?
So that's actually not true. Hero didn't direct that episode.
Oh, okay.
But Hero is obviously like, a part of every level of the making of Atlanta. So I think that's where he first encountered me. But really intimately working together didn't happen until Station 11.
Gotcha. I just remember that episode that we got to work together on. As soon as I left and came back to Atlanta, I told everybody that would listen that this was the best actor I'd ever worked with in my life. This was the best performance I had ever seen. I'm not lying at all, because you remember I asked you when we met in the makeup trailer there, and I asked you in the makeup trailer, do you know how to speak Cantonese? And you said, I know today. And so I don't really speak Cantonese, but there was another actress on set that day who did, and I was talking to her after you did your scene, and she's like, yeah, I could understand her. I was like, that's incredible. That's really incredible. And we know, as actors in the film and TV world, there are occasionally you get rewrites and line changes for scenes all the time, but I've never gotten that for another language. And I remember you getting some different lines on the day, and you were just like, okay. I remember you just saying, okay, let's do it. Let's get right into the next one.
You resent, you giving yourself hell. They literally had changed that scene. It was like this. It was probably a quarter, not even a quarter page. It was less than an eighth of a page. Yeah. Then it became a full quarter. They took it, they revved it up. And so I just sat my butt down and learned, right? And I had, a teacher, and I learned a couple. I was supposed to learn a couple more languages,
Wow.
Yeah. And I did, but they ended up not using some of the stuff. But it's just, I just think that in that moment, I just had to say, yes, and go with it.
Yeah.
Resisting, you're gonna give yourself hell.
Yeah.
And I just stayed true to what we had prepared, and I had the best teacher. She's in Vancouver. She was brilliant, and she worked with me diligently and as much as I needed to. So, and she was on set that day watching by herself.
Awesome. Well, I just remember seeing you do that, and from my vantage point, they were on your coverage. You must have done the scene 5, 7 times. I can't remember.
Billion.
I thought they were all fantastic. I thought they could have used any of them. And then they turned around to shoot my coverage, and you were off camera, and all those performances that you delivered to me for my reactions could have been recorded and could have been used. I thought they were just all fantastic. So yeah.
And I just think, I mean, I know this is a part of this goes out to like the your greater community, but like it's imperative to be kind. If you're in the scene, then you're in the scene. You can protect yourself, and like, I mean, it depends on where you are or whatever, and what is it doing to your body, but we owe it to each other to be as full as we possibly can, because I don't just want to be good. I want you to be good. I want everybody to be good, to do as well as they possibly can. And so I just implore people to prepare energetically to give your full self every time. And that's what Atlanta Theater taught me. That's what Atlanta creative organizations and institutions have taught me. And that's just what you need to do as be a good human, be a full self all the time.
Awesome. That's a great message. And I think that's a great thing to end on. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Last thing I do want to tell you, though, is that, we've been hearing some awards chatter for.
We don't got to talk about that, Kurt.
I'm not gonna mention by name, because I'm a superstitious person too. But what I will say is that we mentioned earlier that Atlanta is kind of a tight-knit community, right? And from what I am hearing through my circle of actor friends, there's so many in the acting and filmmaking community here in Atlanta that are behind you for this. There are people that you don't even know that are telling people to go see Till, to go support Danielle, because of what we're hearing about this, and that you came up from the Atlanta community. So I think that's awesome to hear it from other people. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that as well. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. And I want to tell everybody watching to go watch Till and support this movie, and best of luck.
Man, I came up from Atlanta. I still do stuff in Atlanta. So
I hope to see you on set again someday.
There's no departure. Stay always connected. Thank you so much, Kurt.
Thanks, Danielle.
Bye-bye.